Welcome back to the Team to Beat Miami Heat podcast, your one-stop shop for daily Miami Heat content. My name is Amir. For today's episode, there's some breaking news that Jimmy Butler might be available for trade and that the Miami Heat are currently listening to offers out there from other teams for Jimmy Butler. So if we take a look at this tweet here, we see it says breaking: the Miami Heat are open to listening to trade offers for Jimmy Butler per Shams. Butler is open to playing for the Dallas Mavericks, Houston Rockets, and Golden State Warriors. Makes sense. Those are the few teams that have been linked to Jimmy Butler since this offseason. The Heat are open to listening to offers for Butler and making a deal if the proposal is right, league sources told ESPN. And Butler's agent, Bernie Lee, has indicated in league circles that Butler is open to destinations such as two of the Texas teams, Houston and Dallas, and the Golden State Warriors. Butler is a native of Houston, Texas. Above all, though, he is believed to prefer a win now title contender in any trade. So this is interesting news. And I don't know where they got this leak from, because the Miami Heat typically they don't leak to Shams or Woj in the past. And they usually keep this type of information close to the cuff. And so this could be all smoke and mirrors, but typically where there's smoke, there's also fire. So I don't know how true this report is, but it's Shams. Like, it's not Michael Scotto or Sam Amnick, guys who are totally fine insiders. This is now the biggest NBA insider there is. And this is coming from him directly. I don't know where he got his sources from, but this is very interesting to see, and it makes sense right now, obviously, because again, Jimmy Butler is 35 years old. He still looks good. He is not washed. People that say Jimmy Butler is washed, I think, are incorrect. He is not going to be able to give you those 70, 80 games that you want in the regular season. You could see he's going to have to take a few games off where he's going to load manage in games, and he's not going to be as aggressive. He's not going to take as many field goal attempts. He's going to be more passive. But then you'll see every third game or so, he's going to be active, super efficient. He's, I think, the most efficient guard outside of Norman Powell in the NBA, or non-center, shooting like 50% from the field or something ridiculous. I'll pull it up. Yeah, Jimmy Butler averaging 19 points, 5.4 rebounds, 4.8 assists, so not too far off from what he was averaging last year. 1.2 steals, 55.7% from the field, which is insane. He's been super efficient. He's been getting to the free throw line, top 5 in the league in terms of free throw attempts per game. So he's still able to get you free throws. He is shooting 36% from 3, which is good for him. He is shooting 78.7% from the free throw line. So Jimmy Butler is still a capable player. So it makes sense why a team specifically like the Golden State Warriors or the Dallas Mavericks would want him. Houston, I don't know about that. I don't know if I was a Houston Rockets fan, if I would want Jimmy Butler necessarily, because you would have to trade a lot of young assets, and you've built this young core from the ground up with all your draft picks. And Jimmy could definitely make them a contender, but I don't know if he puts them over the hump yet. Not sure if him, Sengun, Van Fleet, Brooks, and whoever they keep, probably they would keep an Amen Thompson, and a few others that Jabari probably they'll keep. I don't know if that's going to win an NBA championship, especially from the West. Warriors, that's a whole different story. You're pairing him with Steph Curry, who's one of the greatest point guards of all time, who's still in his prime, with Draymond Green, who's playing amazing defense right now. And that could be a new great big three with the overachieving Warriors right now. And they probably have the best package, but I still don't know if I want Kuminga, because, again, he's not the best shooter. He's a really athletic, great small ball four that Spo loves. He loves those types of players. Steve Kerr loves those type of players also, but he wants a max, and the Warriors are not willing to give him a max. So then Miami Heat would have to give him a max. Otherwise, it's just a short-term rental for Jimmy Butler. So I think the Warriors have the best package with a Kuminga, maybe like a Pods and a couple picks, and I would ask for Moses Moody too as well. So I would try to get as many young players from them, including Kuminga as the centerpiece. But I still don't know if that's the most ideal trade. Dallas, I don't know who I want from Dallas specifically, or who they're willing to offer, but that could also be the next most intriguing team that he can go to. Pairing him with Luca, Kyrie, and Clay, like that as your big four. I know Clay obviously is not the same, but still, like having those guys would be huge for the Dallas Mavericks. But who are they going to trade us? They're not going to give us Derek Lively. They're I don't even know who else, what young assets they really have that they could trade that would entice the Miami Heat to trade Jimmy Butler to the Dallas Mavericks. So, yeah, I don't know. Again, I think this could be all speculation. Um, it could be all smoke and mirrors. But again, just because Jimmy Butler is potentially now on the trade market, and we heard this leak this morning, just because that's the case, and they're reportedly listening to offers, doesn't mean that they're going to trade Jimmy Butler. Right? There's several factors um, when it comes to a trade. So I don't know if they're actually going to trade him. Like Pat Riley basically said, and this front office and this brain trust basically said, if this Miami Heat team is healthy, then we have enough. We like this build. We want to run it back. So right now they're healthy. Right now their offensive rating has skyrocketed. They're ninth in offensive rating, 11th in defensive rating. That's when was the last time the Heat had a higher offensive rating than defensive rating? So I think the delusion of the front office now, based on this like last 3 or 4 games, this 3 game win streak that the Miami has been on, well, I don't know. Maybe they think that like let's have one last go with Jimmy Butler before we get to the point where he can opt out next season. But again, that's the big thing, his contract. He is a player option next season. He mentioned this offseason when he didn't get that extension that he thinks he wants to test free agency and opt out and become a free agent. But I don't know if he's going to, if anybody's going to offer him more than $52 million next season, unless he has a really good year. Right now, he's showing that he's good and capable, but I don't know what team is going to want to pay him 50 plus million a year for the next 2 to 3 seasons after next season at an advanced age at 36, 37, 38 years old. So I don't know. Again, just because there is rumors that he is on the table at this point doesn't mean a trade is imminent. So we shall see. It's going to be interesting to see, and we're going to be monitoring this all through the season. Obviously, up until February, the trade deadline. We'll see what happens, but this could be very interesting for the Miami Heat. And I would be sad to see Jimmy Butler get traded. I love Jimmy Butler, but I would also be happy for him if he actually went to a contender and had an opportunity, a realistic opportunity to win a championship. Because this Miami Heat team, I don't care what anybody says, it's a long shot for them to win the championship. Is it impossible? No. Is it improbable? Yes, unless there's a lot of injuries that happen across the NBA landscape. So we shall see. But Tyler Hero, he's been playing great. If Bam could pick it up, if Jimmy could stay healthy and actually be playoff Jimmy, who the hell knows? This Miami Heat team could make a run. We'll see. But right now, again, I want to keep Jimmy Butler as is for now. That can change. But if he does get traded, I want to see Jimmy Butler have an opportunity to win a championship. He deserves it. I want him to retire as an NBA champion. Ideally, I want him to do that with the Miami Heat, but if he can't do it with the Miami Heat, let's give him an opportunity where it's a win-win situation where we get a good package, we could retool, we can get assets, draft capital for our future next star that we can pair next to Bam and Tyler Hero, which will be our 2 franchise cornerstones that we need to build around. And trading Jimmy Butler might make sense to get those pieces to have a new build around Bam and Tyler. Anyway, that's all I have for today's video. Let me know what you guys think about these rumors. And also don't forget to subscribe to the channel.